Okay, I believe we are live. So, welcome everybody to our year-end broadcast. This is Mark from Gig Workers Matter. I'm on tonight with a couple other drivers. We've got a special year-end broadcast for you tonight. So, welcome. Thank you for joining us. If you're at home like we are, you know, the temperature is about to plunge, ladies and gentlemen. We got some rain going on, and then I think by tomorrow, it's going to be a high of 22 degrees with 50-mile-an-hour winds. So, we were scheduled to be out at the O'Hare TNP lot, but then we took a look at the weather forecast, and we're like, okay, we're gonna switch this to all virtual. So if you are listening to us and you are a driver sitting out at the lot waiting for a ping, I hope that you guys get a large surge with this weather and that the ride takes you to Grand Rapids or something, and you can make that bank. Um, I think we've all been there, like you guys, sitting out at the lots. We know what that's like. I've slept in my vehicle and a number of times. So we look forward to being out at the TNP lots as we're able to. But for tonight, we're going to join you for the next 2 hours until 9 p.m. And we're going to have some interesting discussions. We got some guests on tonight. We actually have the ability to have you on as a guest. So if you are a driver and you're listening to this broadcast right now and you want to be on our show, just respond in the comments and give us an email or a way to reach you. This technology that we have, we can bring you on the show like you see these other folks on here. We want to hear your stories as a driver. We're going to be talking in a minute about the carjackings that have gone on, and it's terrible. I'm just going to say it. Carjackings have doubled. That's a fact, and they're going on all over the city, not just in certain areas. So, if you have a story you want to share and you're a driver, we'll put you on the show tonight. So let's just get started and let's go around. You see some faces here in these boxes. I'm going to turn it over first to Lenny. Do you want to just give a welcome on behalf of Gig Workers Matter?
Hey, my friends. Lenny Sanchez here. Thank you for everybody that's joining us on here right now. So George, Kim, you, Mark, and obviously my brother Steven. And I believe Mark will be, the other Mark will be joining us here briefly and others. But anybody that's watching this on YouTube or Facebook, thanks for joining us as well. Mark led off everything there. Did you mention the study?
Yeah, we'll get to that. I just wanted to go around, have everybody introduce themselves.
Good deal. Well, Lenny Sanchez here. Officially will be a 6-year driver in, I believe it'll be March of this coming year, although I haven't given a ride on app since March. So anyways, I'll lead that over to Kim next.
Hi, everybody. It's really good to be here. I've been a Uber and Lyft driver, mostly Uber, but Uber and Lyft since actually today's the 4-year anniversary of my first ride with Uber. So hard to believe it's been that long. I think I've got a total of something like 16,000 trips on Uber and maybe close to 1,000 on Lyft.
Wow.
So I was hitting it really hard for a few years. I really haven't driven much at all since March, around mid-March. I gave my last ride for the time being because of the pandemic. So in the last couple of weeks, I've started just for a little bit of extra cash, just trying to do a little bit of Uber Eats, just a few hours on the weekends. I never really did much Uber Eats before, just a little bit in March, but it's been very eye-opening. So glad we're here to talk about everything that's going on. So we'll pass
Great.
it on
And
to-
now, yeah, yes, we have Urban Persevere on with us.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? My name is Stephen Everett, but I'm known as Urban Persevere. I've been driving Uber and Lyft for about, I would say, 5.5 years, kind of almost since it started here in Chicago. I'm currently still driving now. Nowadays, I do about 10 hours a week just to see what's going on, just to keep up with what's happening. And just experiencing everything that's happening during the pandemic, and just watching drivers grind. So yeah, I'm happy to be on the broadcast. I'm happy to do this and talk to everybody.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us. And before I introduce George, just let me take a second. We've got watchers on our Facebook Live page, and we are also simultaneously broadcasting live to our YouTube channel. And I just want to mention that really quickly because the last time we broadcast to YouTube, it was back around the time when drivers were scrambling to apply for unemployment. And I think we did a YouTube stream, Lenny, if you remember, where we were talking about how to apply for unemployment. And man, we got hundreds of drivers like, I need help. How do I answer this question? What do I do? So we're doing it again. And so if you're watching us on YouTube, don't ask us about unemployment because we're not the expert. We can put you in touch with people. But if you have questions about UI, email them to our email. I'm going to put that in the chat a couple times. Our email address. You're going to want to write that down because we want you to get in touch with us. So we have a health study that we're doing in partnership with the University of Illinois School of Public Health. It's only for rideshare drivers. If you do delivery, that's fine too. We know some of you out there have helped us before taking the survey. We started back earlier in the year, had some technical issues, so now we're relaunching the survey. And it's a short survey. It should only take you about 15 minutes of your time. You can do it from the comfort of your home or your vehicle. And it's anonymous. We don't know your responses. And then once you complete the survey, we can offer you a $20 gift card. And so we can actually do that all online. If you contact us, we need to verify that you're a legitimate driver. And if you've taken the survey before, do not take it again, all right? Because we are aiming to have 250 drivers take this survey. And if you've done it before, thank you very much. Hopefully you've gotten your gift card, but only one survey per driver, all right? So I will be putting that info in the chat. And we had Kevin and then we lost him. So we've got some drivers coming on and off, and with internet connections and stuff, we might. Oh wait, he's back. Hey Kevin, are you back? You're back.
He's out having a quick flight.
Okay, I don't want to interrupt your dinner, but we were just going around introducing ourselves. You want to give like a 1-minute introduction, Kevin?
I probably don't need as long as a minute. Hi everybody. My name's Kevin Nelson. I go by KM as well. I have been a driver for Lyft. Well, mostly doing Lyft for I'd say about 6 years now. I do a good many other things, and I've been very blessed. Generally, I feel a lot of solidarity, with this new growing workforce that we have, and all of the issues that people have run into. Case in point, I know carjackings and things like that are a big issue, and I think that one of the things that we should eventually begin to focus on is trying to communicate to Uber and Lyft that things that, like, for example, canceling rides that don't appear to be, like the person who ordered the ride, the principal, it's like a third party ride or whatever. Other things like that shouldn't count against drivers. Taking measures to protect ourselves just as much as people protect themselves with PPE. These are things that need to be communicated, and also maybe the companies can take some steps to eliminate what we would call like kind of shady activity, like third party orders, verifying IDs of people before allowing them to order rides and so forth. But I think that my minute is up, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop the mic on that one, and and say hello to everybody once again.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. And as you're seeing a theme here, we are all veteran drivers. I think I'm probably the least experienced out of all of you. I mean, I've done both Uber and Lyft over the past 2.5 years, over 5,000 rides. But Kim, man, would you say 10,000, right?
You know what? I'm at 8,000 rides.
8,000. Okay, Kim, how many?
Yeah. For over 6 years. See, I'm
16.
part time.
Oh yeah. So Kim, you said 16,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's on Uber.
Yeah.
Maybe
Mhm.
10,000.
Okay, and Urban Persevere. What's your number?
Oh man, you add all of the apps?
Yeah.
Probably 15,000. I know I have about 8,000 on Uber, and then Lyft has the rest.
Okay, and George, can you beat those numbers?
Yeah, I'm not even close. Not even close.
Okay.
I'm just at 2,000 or just over it. So I'd say probably
Okay.
about 2,000.
All right. Well, yeah, you're not a newbie. Let's just say that. So obviously, folks, you're talking to veteran drivers, and actually, later on in this broadcast, you're going to stay tuned because we're going to do a stump the veteran driver test. So if you got a trivia question for us, put it in the chat. We'll see if you can stump us. Like what was the per mile rate back in 2015 or some shit like that. Just put it in the chat, and later on we'll see if we can get to it. All right. So anyway, we are going to kick off.
George.
Yeah.
Let's turn to George and give him a minute to introduce himself and talk about himself.
That's where I'm headed. So we have as our special guest tonight, George Keski. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, you are. You are like one of the only few that does it at the first time.
Okay, well, wonderful. And George has been a supporter of Gig Workers Matter. He's been in contact with us. I spoke with you, George, a couple days ago, and I know that you service the far south suburbs down in Kankakee. Am I correct?
Yes,
Right. So I'm going to introduce yourselves and how you came about to doing what you're doing.
Okay, well, obviously, my name's George Keski. I've been pretty much with Uber, probably since January. Okay, and I'm also I'm also a navigator with Warehouse Workers for Justice. It's basically is where we go around and tell everybody about their rights, workers' rights and stuff like that. And some of the programs, which one of the main one we are focusing on is Amazon. Amazon, the Mars Corporation, and the Walmarts. As far as the way they treat theirs, and that's where we're at. And some of the programs that we do offer is like the expungement and sealing of like criminal records, so you can get the better jobs and stuff like that. And these are services that we do offer you for free. We do have the lawyers and stuff that will get you in touch and everything like that. Okay, and then
that is badass.
I'm sorry? And like now is what we've got coming up now, like the 15th of January, which we do have another workshop, which is Know Your Rights. The Workers Know Your Rights, which is going to be on the 15th of January. That's some of the stuff that we are kind of working on now. And I basically drive Uber, full time. And it's basically what I'm here for is as far as, as being, a Southside driver and with these carjackings and everything like that, I want to try to get people, together, other riders, delivery drivers, anybody, that has a concern with this, between having, no, basically no fares, low rates, the pandemic, and now we got to deal with carjacking. And I want to try to get, drivers together to come up with ideas, what we can do, how to protect ourselves, what we feel that like Uber, Lyft, and all these companies can, do to help us, stay safe.
Well, I saw Kevin's delicious meal that he's having, so I'm not going to ask him to jump in right now. But it's crazy, exactly what you're saying right now, George. We are drivers that are dealing with not just the pay cuts and everything that we deal with without a pandemic as a dealing, as a, challenging these companies and working with them. Now we're dealing with the pandemic on top of it, and it's been a problem for criminals to use the applications to lure in victims, to rob them, carjack them, whatever it might be, to steal a phone, to steal a car. Now it's a trend, and it's every single day. I tell my wife I'm waking up and I'm seeing at least one story of a driver getting carjacked at gunpoint or getting shot. And this morning, I think it was 3 that I woke up to, and I was like, I can't even look at this anymore. Like, it's just frustrating. So sorry to jump in there and rant there for a second, but yeah, thanks for leading off with that. I mentioned Kevin because he dropped a couple little points there about what the apps can do, and it's kind of something we've here echoed. So do you have any ideas and suggestions on what you think? I know Mark, everybody does, but I'll let everybody speak. And George, if you want to lead, any ideas that you think that the apps can just easily apply to help us out?
Well, what I'm kind of, thinking is like, well, as far as like I said, I don't drive for Lyft. I'm just more driving for Uber. Uber can sit there and tell you, once you accept a ride, they tell you exactly, where you're going and everything like that. But now, once you accept a ride, if you don't want to go to that area, right, you cancel it. You get, you get penalized for it. Where now, like like what you were saying before, you get the thing of accept it, decline it. They should tell you exactly where you're going, and you should have the right. If you don't want to go over there, you should be able to sit there and say, "No, I don't want it. I feel unsafe. I feel uncomfortable going over there right now." That's one of the things.
So I feel you on that. I think that drivers, as true independent contractors, should have all the information on a job before deciding whether they want to accept it or not. Unfortunately, we know the relationship that we have with these companies. The only thing that we can do is decline. So our acceptance rating is not held against us. But if we were to accept a ride or a job and it's to a location that we don't want to take the job for whatever reason it might be because it's too far out of my way and I don't want to get sent that way, or it's going to take me too long to complete and I want to complete my day prior to that, or because I know that there's a trend in carjackings and I don't want to go to that area, whatever reason it might be. I agree that we should have that information. Unfortunately, Uber has stated in the past that they won't give us that because they don't want us to discriminate. But what we saw in California.
Can I cut you off for 1 second here?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, but now I understand, the fact of, yeah, as far as the discrimination, but when, again, we've got, we're dealing with, carjackings. You've got drivers, health, their safety and stuff involved. It's like going, where does the discrimination play over, your health? You understand what I'm saying on that one?
I totally feel you on that. I'm just talking about specifically what the companies will come back with us. But I totally understand with you. What I was trying to lead to is that it's almost it gets to the misclassification issue. If they're not going to give us all the data and information on a job, then we should be classified as employees and have all the security and everything that a traditional employee has. And that is obviously not the situation. And I was leading to California because in California, at the beginning of the year, Assembly Bill 5 became law, and Uber and Lyft quickly began to bend to try to present themselves as independent as a contractor and not an employer. So Uber immediately capped their own commission and started giving the drivers all this data like a true independent contractor should have when they make a decision on whether they want to accept a job or not. So drivers got all that information, George. They got the address and where they were picking up from, the address and where they were dropping off, how many miles were estimated to complete the job, and an estimate on how much they were going to earn. And they also got a rating from the passenger as well. All things that we don't get here in Illinois. Those things, to my understanding, have all gone away or are going away because of Prop 22 passing. All completely different discussion to have, but there are things that Uber and Lyft have the capacity to do immediately to address that, to treat us more like true independent contractors and not cross the line of a misclassification because we are treated like employees. And I think one thing that was mentioned that would coincide with your thing is if they use their own technology that they use with us, with their passengers and their users. If you're ordering a ride, then take a selfie right then and there, just like we need to take a selfie with the mask on. And how many times has that not worked when you're wearing your mask? It's a joke. So it's a trend where you see in the groups now where people are like, I just hold my hand up to my face to take the selfie, and it accepts it because, well, anyways, they have the capability of doing that, of having somebody take a selfie when they're ordering the ride. Facial recognition then becomes like a fingerprint that can be used by law enforcement if there ever is a ride that leads to a crime, such as the ones that we're seeing become a trend. You combine that with the information, etc. I think it provides a much safer, or at least more controlled work environment for us drivers that are out there and rent.
And one more thing I do want to add, which I just found out, for the ones that do lease a car, you need to check out, how this does work, because I had to take my car in today, for maintenance and everything like that. I do a lease, and they told me, as far as like if my car does get jacked, right, I am without a car until they find a car, and plus I still have to pay my deductible. So it's just something you might want to check in with your lease, exactly how that works out with you.
So George, just to repeat and to be clear on that, I'm understanding that you are renting a vehicle, and if you hypothetically were carjacked for your car, not only are you responsible for the deductible, for the insurance claim, but you cannot get another vehicle to work with until that vehicle is hypothetically recovered. Is that correct?
Correct.
What about the payment? Are you responsible for the weekly lease payment while the vehicle is being searched for, or what's the situation with that?
Actually, I've been told that if you have any problems with the leasing system, just not to butt in or anything, and I've seen this happen, like literally, an ex-girlfriend of mine. Even if it's not your fault, typically they won't let you rent another car at all. Okay. They may actually permanently remove you as well.
Wow.
But one of the things I wanted to just touch on super quick though, is that I think that if they just like Lenny was saying, if they come up with a way where the passenger accounts have like a verified ID, then that can eliminate a lot of the potential discrimination issues that come into play with, drivers, maybe cherry picking where they do or don't want to go because they don't feel comfortable. Well, again, that can kind of because then you have that, and then also they can also set it up to where if a person orders a ride and they have somebody with them, maybe they should be required to put the names of all the other passengers that are going into the car. Okay. you know. And you know, there are ways that they can make it easy on people. They can take away like the potential discrimination factors, but also, you know, something that will dissuade potential, you know, carjackers from ordering rides, or, you know, ordering food or whatever, because you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's like, hey, you know, if they deal with the real person. But the companies see themselves as losing too much money by forcing people to do that, and I can see that end of it. They just don't want to say it. But I'll pass the mic on that one.
Also, the reason why they might not want to do the ID thing, which I think is a great idea, is what the excuse they would come up with. They'll say, you know, what if we're breached and all of our riders and drivers or whatever information is out there, you know, their ID. That's the excuse. That's
True.
the excuse that they use to avoid that. But they could definitely do a simple selfie of something before
Yep.
the rider gets in the car. That way, you know, at least if something does happen, you know, to reiterate, you know, the
Yeah.
police be able to see exactly how the person looks, instead of, you know, them being able to do that to us. And it just sucks because, you know, I made a song about this, you know,
I recommend both.
you know, 2 years ago about this same exact situation, and now it's a trend, and now all of a sudden it's in the news. And I've been telling people, you know, actually we've been telling for the longest, that there is a huge loophole in the Rider app where anybody can get an account, and it's simple. I'm not gonna say I don't care how they do it, but you know, it's just
Hmm.
simple, and everybody's at risk. You know, think
Yep.
about it. You know, a lot of people don't talk about this. Think about this.
Yep.
What if the person, you know, takes the car and then start doing rides and like
Right.
rob everybody that gets in the car? You know what I mean? So it's like
Oh,
everybody at risk with this shit.
exactly.
You
I
know,
mean, you know, all you need is a credit card or debit card of some sort, and then you can put in whatever name you want on the account. You know, and you know, and everybody's gotten a ride request from Cash Money T or whoever. You know, and that type of thing should not be allowed.
shouldn't be allowed.
You
Because
know,
we can't put Cash Money T. We can't put what we want on our end of the
right,
spectrum. You know,
right,
so it's just unfair, totally unfair.
yeah. No,
Kim, you had some
and it's
ideas.
unsafe. It's unsafe is the is the main thing that. But like I said, they have ways that they can fix that. And I think that overall, like you know, in the midterm, in the mid run, maybe not in the short run, but in the mid run, that's going to create a safer a feeling for you know, legitimate regular passengers. You know, because they don't, you know, they know that the drivers aren't going to, you know, feel as though their safety is threatened with every other ride. You know what I mean?
Agreed. I agree.
Hmm.
So,
You know,
Kim, you got some ideas you want to share with us?
who? You talking to me?
No, Kimberly.
Oh, sorry.
Kim, all right, do you want to go ahead? Yeah.
Me?
Oh,
Sorry,
did we lose her?
can you guys hear me?
Okay, you're good. Actually, no, she's frozen. Oh, yeah.
Whoops. Hello?
Hey, welcome back.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I was here or not. I think my internet connection's kind of messed up. Anyway, I've got a couple of ideas that I would think that as a company should be fairly simple and easy for Uber. You know, one of which would be being able to install some or provide some kind of tracker for all your drivers cars. So there could be an instant, immediate response to, if our car does get carjacked, to be able to track it immediately, which hopefully that would very quickly become a very big deterrent for anybody wanting to steal our cars. The second one would be, and I said this, was it a year ago or 2 years ago when they first came out with the panic button on the screen of our phone. I thought that it's a great idea on one hand, but also completely useless if your problem is a passenger in the back seat who's sitting there staring at your phone as you attempt to. Um, I think they should have in the first place made it something Bluetooth, something hidden in the car, separate from the phone, like behind the steering wheel or something like that. That if in the event of any kind of incident, like a king or passenger that's becoming violent or whatever, that you could press it without their knowledge.
Yeah, a legit emergency button would be cool to have. One that actually is kind of like the one I would picture is like a bank teller that is getting robbed by a bank robber, that they push that button under the counter. Same type of concept is like what I'm picturing when you describe that, and that would be amazing because I agree with you. It's not discreet, the one that's on the app, and I've accidentally pressed it just in the middle of a ride, and I didn't even know what the hell I was doing, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go because I know where this person's going. I put on the follow the GPS, and I realized that I had pushed that thing and had it open for like 20 minutes. I'm like, well, what if I had a real emergency? I'm like, all I did is touch that stupid icon and it didn't do anything, obviously. Something legit would be meaningful. It would, if they could come up with something. Yeah. We had our friend Mark Valentine. Did he have a bad connection again and jump off? I think he's not with us again. Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Lenny. Let me just stop here for a second and thank you guys, the ones that are making comments in the stream. I just wanted to give a shout out to Karen, who is watching while she's wrapping her presents for Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, Karen. And also another one of our great supporters, Ari, is tuning in tonight as well. So we definitely want to encourage you to put your questions and comments in the chat. I am going to put something in the stream at the bottom for you as well. I just also, you guys might be wondering, you can see here that I've shared the screen. This was an NBC5 Chicago piece that aired recently, December 16th. And as you can see, the title, Carjackers Using Rideshare Apps to Target Victims in Chicago. I'm going to put the link to that in the chat shortly. So, look at that on your own. And right before that, you might have seen I had shared another story about a young father in Bridgeport who was shot dead as he was being carjacked. It's a tragic story. And, while he was not a rideshare driver per se, I wanted to share that because I know some of you drivers out there, we're in the forums. We are paying attention to what the drivers are saying. And some of you out there are like, I avoid certain areas in Chicago, and you could probably figure out what those areas are. But saying, if you avoid those areas, it's not a problem. Well, that young father was shot in Bridgeport, which, if you're a veteran driver, Bridgeport is a hot spot. And these carjackings are going all around the city. We've been talking with drivers who were carjacked in Lincoln Park, Logan Square, Avondale. It's everywhere. So this is a problem. And, in January, you're going to hear more from us about how we want to move forward and suggest some solutions. So I'll put this in the chat. let me go back to our guest today, George Keski, who's a driver and also an organizer with Warehouse Workers for Justice. And George is also joined by Mark Valentine, who is also himself a Lyft driver and a co-organizer. So I was hoping you guys would talk a little bit about the situation you're seeing on the ground with Amazon, because we need to be in solidarity with our brothers and sisters who work at the warehouses. I know you guys take some of those folks to and from work, and I will pull up while you're talking. There was another story recently in the news about how warehouse workers are like getting COVID at much higher rates than the general public. So they are definitely essential workers, and whether they're getting enough PPE and stuff, that's not for me to say. But Mark and George, you guys want to chime in on what Warehouse Workers for Justice is all about and what you're doing?
Right, Mark.
Yes. First of all, everybody, good evening. And thanks for having me, first of all. I just want to, yeah, like you say, my name is Mark Valentine. I am an organizer and a community navigator and an activist for Warehouse Workers for Justice. And our primary goal is to school people or enlighten people on their rights on their jobs. Also, we do expungement. We help people that's having problems with housing. We help with discrimination against seniors. We also help with sexual harassment and all type of charge, things on the job that happen every day that people think if they don't move their mouth and they shouldn't say nothing because these companies will retaliate against them or make things hard for them. That's when we come in. Actually, they talk about unions, but we do the same thing the union do. We try and get more than one person on the job that want to change the rights and change the work atmosphere for the better on their job. I am a Lyft driver. I've been off for several months because I've had my 4th knee surgery, and I haven't been clear about my doctor. But I've been sitting here listening. Even though I've been having a bad connection, I've been able to get the audio. I don't know what's going on with my Facebook tonight, but I've been listening to a lot of the comments tonight, and I take a lot out of everybody's comment because me too, being a Lyft driver, I know you want us to talk about Amazon. I just want to touch on this right quick. I was a victim of an almost carjacking, but I was robbed at gunpoint doing a pickup. And like I guess, I didn't catch the young man's name, but like he said, these nicknames, that's caused a problem. Because I'm like this, if you're using a debit card number, that's the name that should come up in our phone to let us know that's what we're picking up. And it's a better way to trace things. I hit the panic button. And if it wasn't for my just instinct of growing up in the hood, I was on 79th and right off Halsted, behind a liquor store. Okay, so I mean, that's something I'm used to. But if it wasn't for my instincts of growing up and knowing what to do at a time like that, I drove off. I hit the panic button. The operator, like he said, whoever it was, asked me 50 million questions about, did I see their face? What color they had on? Baby, somebody just stuck a 45 automatic in my face. Do you think I was busy trying to figure out what color clothes they had on and what they really looked like? I was thinking about my life and my 20 grandkids that I want to see tomorrow morning. So yeah, it's a big problem, man. I mean, a real big problem. If you've never been held up at gunpoint, you can't feel what I'm saying. Because that is it's a lot of things we can say we can do, but when you're in that position with a gun in your face at 2 o'clock in the morning and ain't nobody around but these 2 guys that decide that they gonna take what you got, it's a horrible thing, man. It's horrifying, man. It is. And y'all are all correct, man. We need to get to the bottom of this. Instead of complaining, we need to make our voices known and we need to get into a solution. So Mark, that's what I want to say on that.
Thank you for sharing that. Let's keep talking about this. Thank you very much for sharing that experience that you unfortunately had to fucking have. I can actually relate. I unfortunately myself had a firearm pulled out on me. 2, 3 in the morning, picking up a scumbag. He does not fit the demographic that a lot of the carjackers are doing now. He was an older white gentleman who was huge and totally jacked up on alcohol and steroids and was ready to blast me away. And I I always had that thought, like, that cowboy instinct. If I could pull out my weapon and blow this guy away or anything like that. But the reality was, I started trembling uncontrollably. I showed him my hands and told him, "I'm just here to give you a ride. I don't know you. Please don't hurt me. I have kids. I'm just here to make a few bucks." I almost pissed myself, and I couldn't stop shaking the entire time that I was giving that guy the ride that I had to give him to not get shot and not get killed. And I can lead to my brother Steven, aka Urban Persevere, and because he unfortunately is a victim of gun violence himself, growing up in some of the rough neighborhoods of Chicago as well, and being a gig worker and whatnot. It's a fucked up reality that this is not just like something that's happening, it's a trend, and applications have the ability to do everything that we've all mentioned so far to at least try to deter these criminals from doing this, and give some avenues better for the detectives that are trying to solve the crimes that have been committed. So sorry for cutting you off on that, Mark. Thank you.
No problem, no problem. But I mean, you're absolutely right, man. I mean, it's just sad, but we do need to get in a solution. If they're not going to do nothing about it, we ride shares. We all humans. We got a right to organize and make something happen, man. Get into a solution. I mean, it's not about keeping our mouth closed. A closed mouth never get fed. But this is a real issue, man.
Thank you.
This is a real issue, man.
Huge.
I pray for our drivers, even though I'm not driving. I pray every night, and in my prayers, I ask God to cover every ride share out there, Uber. I don't care what service you ride for, Lyft, it doesn't matter. Cover y'all with the blood of his son, and please bring them back to their families the way that they left. Because it is serious, man.
It's a huge
Mark. It's serious. Not to cut you off, Steve. I just wanted to say that it's any car. You can be driving a Honda Fit. You can be driving a Honda old Camry. You can be driving a Hellcat. You can be driving a Benz. You can be out in the west burbs. It can be in the north side, the south side. It's happening at 11 o'clock in the morning, at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's happening all around the clock, everywhere. Steve, I'll turn to you. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I just want 30 seconds. And no, just to piggyback off of exactly what you're saying. They don't care about what kind of car it is. They don't care. A lot of rideshare drivers will say, "Oh, well, we don't exchange any money or nothing like this. It's not like I have money." They don't care about your money. They want the car. And the reason why they want the car is so they can take your car and do other crimes in them, so it won't lead back to them. So they don't care what car it is. They just want your phone, and they just want the car. And some will take the time to go in your pocket and whatever the situation. But I know exactly what liquor store you're talking about on 79th too.
Yeah.
That's just that is just
yeah, I know the one.
Yeah.
Central right there.
Right.
It just sucks that we have to pick where we pick up people.
Right.
It just because a lot of bad apples make it bad for everybody else. You know what I mean? So that sucks. So that's all I want to say about that. So yeah.
But getting back to the Amazon situation, basically with Amazon, and it's not just Amazon. We talking like Mars Candy Company, Amazon, Walmart. These warehouses are considering themselves essential to the U.S. citizens' need. And they got workers inside these warehouses where they're not even properly sanitizing these warehouses. People are coming up with COVID. They're not wanting the workers. They got workers not social distancing inside the warehouse, and they're not getting their hazardous pay. We did score a victory. I'm glad to announce that with the Mars XPO side, not the DHL side. They did give their workers a $3 raise, and they sanitized their place once again. So we did score a victory there because of our noise that we made. Those things happen for those workers. But this is something that we really need to take a look at, especially like You know, this vaccine is coming up. You know, I think the warehouse workers should be considered right there with the frontline workers, because if you look in your house right now, just look around the room that you're in right now. If you didn't grow it in the ground, 95% of everything in that room has come from a warehouse. So that's one of the main issues that we have with, especially Amazon. You know, we talking about some of the, yeah,
I'm in my
yeah.
car. That came from
And it's
warehouse.
like these workers, these owners of these big companies. We are talking about the 1, 2, 3 richest families in the world. Bezos, you got the Walmart family, and you got the M&M family. These are the 3 richest families in the world. These places make billions. And you're gonna tell me you can't stand a little bit more to your employees to make sure they're safe and they're not carrying this coronavirus home to their loved ones. And then a lot of these places, they also use these temp services. And what the temp services do, they're like I guess they're the people that go out and find and recruit these people. And they tell you because you're a temp worker, they can't do this for you, they can't do that for you, but you need to come to work. You know, and then like if a temp worker come in contact with a regular worker for the company, the regular worker gets the time off with pay. The temp worker has to sit at home without pay and stuff like that. And I just think it's about time that these things are brought into the front. And then like for Amazon with the ride share with Uber and Lyft, you got to think about a lot of those workers take Uber and Lyft back and forth to work. So they're getting into your car, and this chances are you can be exposed to this based on what's going on inside their warehouses. So that's all I wanted to say. I'll swing it over to George.
Yeah. So we take the survey.
Yeah, Stephen, we're going to wrap this up in a minute or two. George, do you have any final thoughts or thing you want to say about Warehouse Workers for Justice? Anything coming up that we can support?
Like I said, right now we were supposed to do a action tomorrow, but due to weather, we kind of canceled it out. You know, it's too cold to be out there right now, especially with the temperature and everything like that. But like I said, as far as the 15th of January, we do have the workers' right workshop coming up, and that's that's pretty much all I really got to say on that for right now.
Yeah, but if you go to our page, Warehouse Workers for Justice, you can join us or hit the like button or the bell, and we will alert you when these events start, because we have 2 or 3 different workshops a month, and we do them live on Facebook. There's no charge or anything like that. We have real lawyers from real law firms giving you the law, especially expungement. That is one of the biggest things right now. So yeah, expungement is a real huge thing with us. And right now, if you guys know anybody that need their record expunged, please give them our page, Warehouse Workers for Justice. The only thing it's going to cost them is $16 to go get their rap sheet, city and state. And we do the rest, $5,000 worth of work for free. You cannot beat that.
That is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for you guys doing that and inviting our anybody that's watching to join you guys in that, because that is a very powerful tool that many of us need, because many of us have wrongful things on our records that shouldn't be on there, and we have no idea how to get them out. And even if we do, we don't have the financial means that it typically takes to get them removed. So for you guys to offer that to the community at no cost, except for obviously getting the records, is fucking awesome. Pardon my French. And it only is appropriate, I think, that we signal that and share that as well. So share that with us so that we can share that from our page as well. And obviously, George, you already share all those things in the group. Continue doing that. But it's only appropriate because the way I see Amazon workers now is it's just another gig. And I'm not talking about the ones doing the deliveries. I'm talking about the ones working at the Amazon locations.
Yeah.
It's almost like another gig. It's like I'm in between work. What do I need? What can I do? I could do Lyft, I could do Uber, I could do DoorDash, I could do Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really scary because all these companies are basically trying to redefine workers, and they're using temp agencies or they're using misclassification. So it's a fucked up situation, to put it nicely. So thank you guys for what you guys are doing, because you're championing a lot of things there for warehouse workers. So thank you, Mark. Hope to meet you here soon enough. Feel free to join us here for the time that we have remaining. I don't know how much longer we're going to go here, but We've had some great discussions on the carjacking issues, but we need to touch on the study that we're doing with University of Illinois Chicago School of Health. It's on drivers' health and and being a driver and what Uber, Lyft, and the applications may or may not be doing for us. So it only coincides with what is going on with what Mark was mentioning with the practices that they are not doing and or the poor practices that they are witnessing at the warehouses. Um, let's talk about what you are experiencing as an Uber and Lyft driver on that survey, and you get compensated $20 for doing so. We can either, if you see us in person at the lots, I'll have usually a stack of cash on me, so I can give you a $20 bill, or give you a gift card to $20 to Target or Amazon. Hate to say that, guys. We have Amazon gift cards that we're handing out, but if you see us in person, you can do that. If you're participating online right now, you can send us a message to get the link to the study. It's to UIC, and we'll give you the password so that you can complete that. Once you're done with it, send us a screenshot of you completing it, and we'll send you the compensation. It can be either via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. So anything else you guys want to cover on the study? I know I just ranted there.
Thanks, Lenny. Yeah, just to recap, and for those of you who are still watching, thank you so much. We started the stream at 7 p.m. If you've just joined us, we're going to go tonight till 9 o'clock Central Time. This is really kind of an open conversation. So we obviously had some guests on, George and Mark, but if you want to contribute, feel free to type in the chat. We are broadcasting live on both YouTube and Facebook Live. And yes, if normally we would have been out at the O'Hare lot tonight, the TNP lot. Some of you who might have seen, we did a live broadcast from there a few days ago. Stephen, Lenny, and myself were out canvassing like 2 weeks ago, something like that. And so we would have been out there tonight, but if you look out your window, it's pretty nasty out there right now. Again, if you're a driver and you're out working tonight, please be safe. Don't do anything crazy. We know, you have to take those rides. So again, we have this health survey going on, and how it's going to work is I'll put the link momentarily at the bottom. You can text us, you can email us, and then someone will get back to you right away. We just need you to prove that you're a driver. So how do you do that? Send us a screenshot of your driver app, with your face and your name. That's good enough for us. And then we will send you a special link. I'll show that just a little bit later on. You can see what it's like. It'll take you 15 minutes. You can do it from the convenience of your car or at home. And then once you're done, just send us a screenshot of the end screen. It'll just say, thank you for completing this UIC survey. And then, as Lenny said, we will transmit the payment to you as an incentive for your time. This has been created in conjunction with UIC. It's totally legit. The School of Public Health. And once we have enough survey respondents, they're going to analyze the results and hopefully share that with decision and policy makers, because everything that we've been talking about right now, unfortunately, we know that politicians, bureaucrats, they need to see some hard data before they make these decisions. So anyway, I'm going to put that link at the bottom. You'll contact us and we'll get back to you right away. But we're going to move on now to a different topic. And we know because of COVID, a lot of you drivers have now shifted to doing delivery. We're actually doing another study with a different UIC group that's looking at how rides cratered right after March 13th. The city has all that data. It's gigantic. It's like 170 million trips in their database. So this other group at UIC is looking at, where did the rides go? How many new drivers have come on the platform? I was shocked because Lenny and I sat in on one of their status meetings. I don't know, maybe it's not surprising. There's a lot of new drivers that join after March. And, we're all veteran drivers. I know a lot of veteran drivers are on the sidelines right now. If you were able to collect unemployment, great, because that's probably better than going out there and risking your life driving. However, we know there's other drivers that have kept driving all through the pandemic. George, I believe George is a driver who was on earlier, is a driver who was on during that whole time. So anyway, we know a lot of you have switched to Uber Eats, and today I took some interesting screenshots of the Uber Eats app, which I will bring up shortly. But Kim, I know, still does some Uber Eats. Urban Persevere, you're doing Uber Eats. Kevin, who is he's eating himself right now.
No, I'm done. Actually,
done. Okay, so
yeah, but definitely try La Oaxaqueña on Milwaukee Avenue. Awesome food. Just a quick plug. Those guys are great.
Okay.
Well, here we go. Thank you.
Let me just throw it out now to our group of veteran drivers. So Uber Eats, what are your thoughts about that? Are you seeing that as a viable alternative? I know, Lenny, you were talking about there's some there's shenanigans maybe going on around not just Uber Eats, but DoorDash, Instacart. When I say Uber Eats, I'm talking in general about all these delivery platforms. And from what I've heard, I mean, DoorDash is like super evil compared to some of those other ones. So
I'm on Postmates.
Yeah. So what that's like, Kevin?
You know what? Postmates is at least as of currently, as I've noticed, because I know that Postmates got acquired by Uber and maybe is going to become part of Uber Eats at some point. But Postmates is a very limited market, very busy in like up near Northwestern and like North Chicago. That's where it's like very, very busy. But they restaurant doesn't have to be on their platform to get orders from them, because they can send people in with a debit card and so forth. So there are some points when I will log on to Postmates and I'll just be extremely busy because not a lot of people are on that at different points. But generally it's the same as others. Sometimes they will send people to Walgreens for prepaid orders or 7-Eleven or something like that. It's not like a very big revenue source for me at all. But it's there. It does work, and some people use it, just like with their bike messenger logo. They had a lot of there was a lot of people on bikes that do Postmates, just like some of the other services that are out there. So I mean, it's not really big. It seems like they've been trying to make their way into different markets, but again, they got acquired, so that probably isn't, they're probably not going to be doing what they were doing before. So
yeah, I'm curious to see if they're going to carry their model of just being able to send one of their partners into a store and buy whatever and pay for it with the card, because I kind of like that, because it eliminates the commission aspect that DoorDash and Grubhub and Uber Eats have with a restaurant, that I don't think is necessarily fair, at least at the amounts of the commissions that we have seen them taking from the restaurant's portion. So with Postmates not signing up any restaurant or shop to be listed as a vendor or anything where somebody can shop as a partner with this store, and having it where a worker can just go in and pay for whatever it is that the customer wants. I liked that aspect of it. I wonder if they'll carry that over or not. But if it's going to be anything like Uber Eats is, I would suspect that they're going to try to have their team sign up as many restaurants and everything or just transfer everybody that's already using the Postmates app over to
yeah, they can. Yeah, restaurant can sign up, so to speak, and receive orders from a screen, prepaid orders, like Chipotle, for example, is like a that's a Postmates account. It's like, you receive the order, and when the driver gets there, the order is ready. You don't have to pay with a debit card or anything. You just pick it up and you go. But again, it's like different. Each individual business or company, they have the option of whether or not they want to do it. Postmates will still basically send somebody in there and put the menu on their website anyway. which is actually a pretty good marketing idea if you think about it, because some places are popular, but maybe they don't want like 101 different delivery systems, for people, for their cashiers or whatever to be working on. So
Yeah, kind of streamlines it, and it's like a deal. You're taking it. Whether you can't refuse it. It's like a deal you can't refuse.
Yeah. But back in March, I mean, for me, yeah, rides definitely tanked, and there was a big upsurge of delivery service orders. I mean, all over the place. People, I mean, Postmates is like probably the least busy of them all, and I was cracking on Postmates. I was like making in excess of $200 a day just doing deliveries only, for Postmates. But but yeah, nobody was really ordering any rides, back at that point. And I wasn't really in it, early in the pandemic shutdown. Nobody was real. We were at a point where we weren't really taking the rides at all, because we didn't know what was going on, what was happening, if people could protect themselves. So it just wasn't, I guess it wasn't worthwhile. But case in point, I was one of those people that tried to collect unemployment. It didn't happen. It did not happen. But luckily, the what would you call that? The what was that called? The PPA. I was able to secure a small loan to hold me over a little bit. Which was
PUA.
yeah, the PUA, because lo and behold, all I did was just tell them, hey, I was a Lyft driver and I made X amount of dollars, and they were like, fine, here you go. And not bad, right? So, I mean, but yeah, overall, like they it seems like they had deliberately made collecting unemployment like extra hard, and I heard about people who went back to work and they were eventually able to get like retroactive unemployment payments. And I asked someone, an agent that I was able to get online with, about that finally, like after months of trying. And they said, oh, yeah, fine. We got you. Just, certify for your benefits or whatever. And no, it didn't work. I got the letter and they just declined it or whatever. And so at a certain point, I think that's kind of like what they want. They want people to just kind of give up, and it's horrifying, but very, very true at the same time. Just like with these stimulus payments, who knows what kind of difficulty they may set up to prevent people from actually receiving these stimulus payments in some cases.
Yeah. I myself never got the first round of stimulus. I've submitted my banking info several times. I had my wife do it because I'm like, am I doing something wrong here? And she did it, and they rejected it every single time. And I'm like, I don't get it. And supposedly they would send me a check in the mail. Never got it. And you can check the status on there, and they can't give me an update on it. So can't give me an update until they reopen it again. So let's see if I ever even get that first round, and see what we get the second round here. I wanted to touch on what you were talking about there about the unemployment thing, because it's something that really bothers me. These companies essentially got a bailout when us gig workers all got included in unemployment insurance benefits. When they were extended to us, it was all on the taxpayers' dollars. Everybody else that pays into the unemployment insurance tax fund, that's who is paying for our unemployment insurance benefits that we've been collecting. And it's wrong. It should have been these companies, but because everything about these companies is misclassification, it is what it is. So I hope that Illinois in the future gets some laws that um, address this, so there could be lawsuits to get the monies from these companies to put back into those pools. But I'd like to talk to Kim because she sees the other side of the coin, or the other side of the cool side of the pillow, um, in reference to being an employee for a delivery company. Because not only has she done Uber Eats and Uber and Lyft, but she works for a pharmaceutical company that she does deliveries for. And I'm going to allow her to tell us more about it. She can tell us the name, and I'd like to know like about the compensation and just what your experience is in general versus what you've seen from Uber Eats and Lyft and everybody else.
Yes. Okay. Can everybody hear me right now?
Yes, we can. Kim, if it's easier to turn
Hello.
off, we can. If it's easier for you to turn off your video, that might help with the audio issues.
Okay. Well, let me give that a try. Okay. So yes, I'm really happy to say I'm working part-time for a pharmacy called Capsule Pharmacy. It's a company that started in New York about 5 years ago. And it's grown quite large in New York City. So it was just this year that they began a process of expanding to several other cities. And so I was actually working part-time for a small mom and pop pharmacy, and that then got acquired by Capsule. And I have to say I'm happy with my experience so far. From the beginning, we are hired on as, since we're people's medication, and there's a degree of accountability that needs to go with that, and deliveries within a certain time and everything. So we're part-time employees right now. I know there's some talk of possibly trying to get some of us classified as full-time employees eventually. I would absolutely love to. But anyway, as a part-time employee, I get my hourly wage is around minimum, but on top of that, we also get opportunities for a bonus if we're generally up for work at our scheduled time and everything. And we also get mileage every mile we drive for deliveries. So some days that might be 30 miles, so maybe 100 miles. But we get that payment on top of the hourly. So, if anybody's job ad or anything for Capsule, definitely it's very, very legit and not a bad thing to try to get into. So I'll pass it on.
Well, that's cool. Thank you for telling us about that, Kim. If you can share the link for that in our private chat, and then Mark can put it up, so if anybody is interested, they can find it. Or if you have a referral code, we can even put that up there. I don't care. But it's interesting that a company has.
Sounds good.
What's that?
I was going to say, sounds good. And I think, little by little, they're probably going to continue to grow in Chicago, and more couriers.
I hope they
We've
do.
got both car. Yeah, they're, we're in a little bit of a space right now where we probably have more couriers than we actually need. So it's a little bit. I mean, we're still getting paid to work and everything, but it's going to continue. So I know, like I think in New York, they have like 2,900 deliveries or something per day. So you can imagine how many couriers they need for that. You know, and we go everywhere between like Arlington Heights and Northwest Indiana.
So thank you, Kim. I just wanted to explain because I put something up on the screen. I mentioned I took some screenshots earlier, and this might inform some of this discussion about Uber Eats. First off, I was completely floored when I opened the app and I thought, you know, I'll just check on the prices for rides. Did you guys know that there's an Uber cab option now where it will summon a cab driver for you? I mean, there's Transit, you know, there's Uber Green, there's all these. I mean, my God, like Uber now is we're literally in the cab business competing with the cab drivers right in the app.
The Uber cab is something that has been available for some time now, but it's only available in certain areas. So depending where you're at, it's not an option when you're requesting a ride. And I believe it was removed for a time period. So looks like it's back. Obviously, from your screenshot, it is. So it's something that I don't know how much is being used because just from the numbers that we know on how many cabs are out there, I believe that from our friends in the industry, that we're think it's around 250 to 300 cabs that are out there per day, which is very, very low considering 10 years ago there was about 7,500 cabs, and I would assume about 7,000 of them per day were active easily back then when everyone was making a decent living doing transporting of people. So.
Great. Anyway, so let me just really scroll quickly through this. So a friend gave me a free Uber Eats card. Just, you know, be honest, I would never use Uber Eats because I'm a driver and I respect you guys too much. But I got this free Uber Eats card. So I thought, okay, I'll fire up the app, just kind of see what's out there. This was very late at night. And you know, I'm just stunned because we have drivers talking about low delivery, fares. But you look at this, number one, you have like McDonald's and Popeyes now, $1.99 delivery fee, 99-cent delivery fee. I mean, I just don't understand how anybody is making money. Like these are heavily subsidized delivery fees. And you know, I'd be curious to hear from the drivers here that do delivery if that's reflected in the pings that you get. Now,
look at the menu. They're padding the prices of the items. That's how they're making money.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but the other point is, you know, okay, you know, McDonald's and those big chains, you know, they can absorb some of this, but then you have, you know, mom and pops, and I'll see if I can find a screenshot of one of these. The mom and pops too are, let's see. Well, this is still big chains here: Panda Express, Chick-fil-A. All right. Well, here's one: Rincon Azteca. Now, I don't even know if that's a legitimate restaurant, but they have a whole category of $0 delivery fees. And so I got to ask, you know, mom and pop restaurants are already probably being crushed by these orders. And then there's this Uber Pass thing, which you can purchase. And apparently for $10 a month, you get unlimited delivery and a 5% discount. So, you know, if someone gets an Uber Pass, you know, they're probably going to town and ordering every chance they get. And so I'm just sharing this stuff because we've heard drivers complaining about how low the fees have gotten. And so you can kind of see on the customer side, I mean, the prices are already so low. And you can look at this one, Rincon Azteca, 35 to 50 minutes before you get your order. So, you know, as a driver, you're going to have to wait for a while. And with a $0 delivery fee, I mean, you know, somebody's not making money, and it's probably not the driver, probably not the restaurant, the mom and pop place. So I don't know. You guys got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that reminds me of the race to the bottom when Uber and Lyft were trying to gain as much market share from the ride community, the people that needed rides, and they were subsidizing the cost of the rides with investor money. The difference that we're seeing now is that there's no more investor money. That's dried up. So instead of subsidizing it, they're just barely compensating us enough for expenses, or even less than that. So that's the big difference. Is that there's no investor money to make up the difference that's being subsidized.
Yeah, I agree 100%. What's happening is they're doing those orders, and a lot of drivers are starting to reject them. And what happens is you get the screenshot of the driver saying, "Look, they want me to go, 30 minutes away from where I'm at for a $6 order." You know what I mean? They can't raise the prices on those orders because it's so many drivers. They're trying to get somebody to take it because they know someone is going to take the order. Unfortunately, and it kind of sucks because if us drivers stick together, they would never do that to us, and it would never really be a zero fee, for delivery, because it would be impossible because someone will lose out. It just needs to be fair all the way around the board. I was doing Uber Eats, and I got kicked off of Uber Eats not too long ago because a rider or customer lied and said that I stole their food. Like, no, I didn't steal any food, but I wasn't able to fight that, unfortunately, and they just totally got me off of Uber Eats. So I started doing DoorDash, and DoorDash seems to work out now. I guess Uber, they're doing a deal, but DoorDash seems to work out. And for me personally, I feel like DoorDash pays their drivers a lot better than Uber Eats. That's just my opinion. Or maybe I just be in the right areas at the right time. But I've been more successful with DoorDash when I do decide to do that. But when these robberies kind of sparked up like that, I stopped hopping out of my car, period, to even do DoorDash or anything like that. But I mean, the Uber Eats thing came in handy. It comes in handy for when you have absolutely nothing. When it's just like, yo, I need to go make a couple of bucks, and that's really what it's for. It's not to work a steady income. I feel like it's just when like you really need to go and pay a phone bill or something like that. But in order to make something, you need to do everything. You need to drive. You need to do Uber Eats. You need to do DoorDash. I even signed up for Caviar. I did Caviar, which is no rides on there, but I even signed up for Caviar at one point. So yeah, I just feel like in order to make any type of living, you would need to do all of the gig apps.
Thank you for those comments. Anyone else? Any final comments? I did want to throw in one last observation. As I was looking at these restaurants, this was like I'm talking like 2 a.m. in the evening, and I wanted to see, okay, who can I get to deliver? Now, of course, you got the McDonald's, the Burger Kings, but then you have like you could see sort of on this screenshot. There's something called Saffron Street. I found another one called Burger Bites. And no actual restaurant is going to call themselves Burger Bites. And this brings up the whole idea of ghost kitchens. You have a lot of these restaurants now that aren't a real restaurant. They are for those of you who don't know, ghost kitchens, the concept where you have a food order, but instead of a regular restaurant where you go sit down tables, it's in a commercial facility. Oftentimes 9, 10 different restaurants are all in the same facility. They come up with some weird name like Burger Bites, and they can make whatever food you want. So that's the ghost kitchen, ghost restaurant. The former CEO of Uber, Travis Kalanick, is an investor in some of these ghost kitchen concepts. And if you're listening out there, what we're going to be doing in January is, I said at the top of this that we were going to be out at the O'Hare TNP lot tonight, but we couldn't because of the weather. One of the reasons why we chose the TNP lots is we want to be talking with you drivers in person in 2021. Just the fact of the matter is that the O'Hare lots are where most of the drivers congregate, where we can get to, also with Midway. But now again, with the pivot to delivery, a lot of these ghost kitchens are places where drivers hang out. So if you're listening to this and you're a driver, you do delivery, and you frequent some of these ghost kitchen sites, let us know in the comments where these locations are. They're not, very well. It's not like a big flashing neon sign that says ghost kitchen, right? Lenny, Stephen, and I have gone to a couple of them. They're all around the city. I was finding out that one way you can find these is, again, if you go on at 2 a.m. at night and you look for a delivery and you find a place, they have like a weird code. They'll say like Burger Bites, but then CHI something something. And when you look for more info, it will show you the address. And I know there's a ghost kitchen like 3300 West Lake Street. There's one in the North Center. There's another one in River North. So drivers, rat them out. Tell us where these ghost kitchens are, and we might show up there in the future. Anyway, so I just want to close out this segment about Uber Eats. I mean, do any of you guys have any other tips or advice for drivers if you are doing these, deliveries?
A common question that I see a lot of new delivery drivers asking is, where can I go to get a lot of requests? I'm not getting a lot of requests, and that's an unfortunate situation. So I tell them, one thing is that you have to be conscious that there's a ton of people that are on the applications now, all trying to make a few dollars. So the demand and supply isn't like it was in the past. But if you're strategic, you can still try to make a few dollars better than your average worker that's out there, because you're putting some thought into where you're going to be working. So the ghost kitchens that you just mentioned are actually a great spot for drivers to target, because there's several kitchens that are in these locations. So for anybody that doesn't know, there's locations that have over a dozen restaurants that are operating out of one warehouse that was converted into all these mini kitchens. There's no restaurant seating area anywhere for customers to go in and inside. So the concept is that you can only order from an application and get takeout and delivery from these locations. That's it. It's a ghost kitchen. So if you go to one of these locations, there's a lot of requests around lunch and dinner time, of course, especially on the weekends. And a lot come to those locations because of the concentration. So if you think about the concentration of kitchens and restaurants that they're in one place, I would say to then think about the same thing about where is the concentration of restaurants that people will be ordering from. And if you start to think about other demographics and the scale of the restaurant and typically the gratuities that coincide with that, you can start to target other locations as well during certain times. But that'd be my last tip to anybody in reference to that. I'll end my rants.
Yeah. Thanks, Lenny. So we're actually going to take another commercial break. This is sort of like the public radio pledge drive. But instead of you calling and paying us, we want to pay you. And so how we're doing that is right now we are partnering with the University of Illinois School of Public Health. We are doing a health survey of drivers. And so if you are listening to this and you are a current driver, you want to do this survey and you have not done it before, reach out to us. You can see the little beneath me, the scrolling banner. It says text us your questions and comments to 331-442-4668 or email gigworkersmatter@gmail.com. Once you do that, we're going to respond to you and then ask you to just verify that you're a driver. The easiest way to do that is to send us a screenshot of your driver profile on one of the apps. You can be Uber, Lyft, Via, DoorDash, Instacart. We're not picky, just that you're a driver. If you are not driving right now, that's okay too, because we're going to ask you about your driving history. So contact us there. We'll be reaching out to you, send you that stuff, verify as a driver. Should only take you about 15 minutes, which you can do from the comfort of your home or your car. And then once you're done, send us a screenshot of the final screen. We will then transmit to you a $20 incentive as thanks for your time. All your responses are anonymous. We don't know how you answer. We just wanted to make sure that you do take the survey. Some of you might not realize there's over 100,000 drivers registered in the Chicago driver database. So we can only reach a fraction of these drivers. We're hoping to get 250 responses so that our university partners can do some research and hopefully come out with the results, which can be shared with city and state officials about how you guys are doing during COVID and the pandemic. So I will put that out again in the chat. And thank you for those of you who have tuned in tonight. We know you might be tuning in from all over the country. That's one of the nice things about doing an online broadcast. We were going to be out at O'Hare, but it's, I think, what is it? Raining, snowing, what's that word for slush. It's like slush coming down 50 miles an hour. Oh, Kevin, I see you're out there.
It's actually not that bad out.
Right
not
now?
Right now.
Okay.
I mean, it was 55 degrees. It's probably like 45 degrees. It's not that windy. I was up at O'Hare a little bit earlier today. And I mean, it was windy. It was very, very windy. But aside from that, I mean, today it was, it wasn't too much happening today weather-wise. That's not too bad.
Are you actually out working right now?
I was thinking about getting back to it in a few. Probably checking on those Postmate deliveries since I'm in an area where I think that may be pretty prevalent.
Yeah. What's, if you don't mind me asking, what is your home turf general area?
Home turf? I don't have a home turf. I am always generally in Chicago. I'm the kind of person that kind of moves every 2 years, but as of the moment, I live in the south suburbs. But I'm used to pretty much driving downtown, and then I'll log in and start, or I'll drive to one of the airports. I usually like to kind of try to start strong. I had a conversation with Lenny though. I think this was maybe a couple of weeks ago or something like that. And I happened to notice, because I ended up across the border in Indiana, and I got a ride that took me from, I don't know what it was, Hammond or something like that, over to Michigan City, right? And then I got another ride that took me from Michigan City all the way over to South Bend. And I could not believe how much I got paid to do that. But I guess the rate cards, when you pick people up in those areas, it's like double the pay per mile that Chicago is.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can cross the border, and the rates for us drivers skyrocket.
It's ridiculous. And the funny thing is that I had 2 other similar rides in a row. And of course I took advantage of the low gas prices and kept my gas tank full. But I had another ride that went to Michigan City from the south suburbs, and then Mishawaka, if you know where South Bend and all that is, and then so it was just like, between those 2 rides, like back to back, it was like over $100 that I got paid back. And I'm like, what is this? And I just checked it. I went and looked at the rate card. I guess rides originating in Michigan City, Indiana, it's like $1.20 per mile. Right. I'm like, wow, that's astounding.
So, in Indiana, I don't know what the nickname is for us. It might be the same one as the Wisconsiners have for us, Illinois. people. I won't say it, but it's FIB, FIB.
Yeah.
I won't say what it stands for.
Right.
Wait,
don't like
you're gonna have to message that one to me. I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah. Effin, Illinois, something.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Well, Kevin, the reason I just bring that up is we talked about this. George, who was our guest earlier tonight, he also is a driver based out of Kankakee, and he was telling me how he has to drive to the Moni where the Amazon warehouse is. It's like something like 20 miles for him, so he's deadheading to get up there. And we want to organize. For those
I
of you,
got a ride. I had a
yeah.
ride request. I did a ride today from Kankakee.
Oh wow. Okay, so
Actually,
you took a ride away from George then. Um,
right. I kind of did. It was a long one too. It was a big. Sorry, George. Man.
yeah,
But I had to drive like 20 minutes to get there, though. I just,
right.
I just
Yeah,
took it.
George had to go, but my point is that for those of you joining, Gig Workers Matter, we're an advocacy organization. We've been doing this work, Lenny, for the past 2 years with you and Urban Persevere, a few others. We mostly focus on the Chicago area, but you'll see us. We can't really talk a lot about it now, but we have a lot of big news on the horizon in January. We're going to be doing more canvassing, more organizing, and we definitely want to hit the suburbs. So, we talked about there's a Thornton's in Moni in particular where all the drivers stage.
Yep.
So, we want to get you and George on board. Let's hit those suburban hotspots. And again, for those of you in the audience might listening, if you know like where do the drivers hang out in your town? Is it a restaurant, a gas station, wherever at a warehouse during shift change? Let us know, and we might pay a visit out there in January and beyond. So I just want to bring this to a close because I know, Lenny, your kids are about ready to strangle you or your wife. My wife too is like,
I gotta get on baby duty here, get them ready for bed, and do that whole transfer. And
yeah.
my little guy still needs to snuggle.
Yeah, so we've been on for an hour and a half, and again, in closing, you'll see down here the scroll. If you're a driver listening to this, you want to take this paid driver health study, just reach out to us via this text number 331-442-4668, or email us gigworkersmatter@gmail.com. One of us will get back to you right away with all the details. Should take you about 15 minutes. And then for your time, we'll give you an incentive, a $20 gift card. So with that, I think I'm going to bring it to a close. Anyone with any final comments before we close out our live broadcast?
Yeah, I just wanna plug something real fast. This is Urban Persevere, guys. I'll be dropping a song on January 6th. It's called It's a Good Day. 80 million Americans will like it. The other half may not.
Oh, yeah. Talk to me about that song stuff, man. We make music over here, bro.
I love it. We'll get up. We'll talk.
I'm gonna catch. Yeah, and speaking of that, that's my closing statement. Because as I was telling Lenny, feel free to everybody. Feel free to like message me. I'm down to get on board with any kind of canvassing necessary. I threw a message in there. If you could, give me the information necessary to get people to fill out the survey. If I'm at the lot at Midway or O'Hare or whatever, I run into people, I talk to folks, I can get them the information and get them to do it. That's not a problem. I'm actually an insurance agent for a whole lot of Uber and Lyft drivers, because, I don't mind getting out and talking to people, and seeing what's important to folks, what their concerns are in many cases, because we're all out here trying to persevere as I like that name, So, hey, thanks. This is a very awesome chat, though. I'm really glad to be in contact with everybody. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you all super soon. Like I said, just don't hesitate to message me, call me, whatever. I'm down to get a little bit more active because things are getting very serious, and I think that thousands of us, obviously need the help that we're trying to give, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Appreciate that, Kevin.
Yeah, I put
So,
that old union fist up in the air, solidarity, baby.
So with that, I'm going to bring it to a close. And again, our thoughts are with everyone out there. If you're a driver, we are 2 days away from Christmas. If you have to be out there on the streets working, we're there with you. Reach out to us anytime if you have questions. In 2021, we're going to have some really exciting news. So stay tuned to our channels. We're going to be doing these broadcasts more often, again, in person or online. So good night. Thanks for tuning in. Happy holidays. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Even if if you're not religious, hope you get,
Happy New Year.
yeah, whatever. So Kim, thank you for joining us. Kevin, Urban Persevere, and Lenny.
Peace.
All right.